problem as everybody. We also have certain cases of COVID or people who are in self-quarantine. So first of all, I wish everybody health, and I wish that together we overcome this. I think it is really high time that we do it. And Diana, I really thank you for this initiative. It creates another opportunity, I think, to really hear the ideas and the concerns of European businesses. And I'm very happy that the minister joins. The best is always to speak directly, and we have a common interest. Yeah, we have the common interest that this country overcomes the crisis, that we go for a social economic recovery, that we find more investment, but it makes it also necessary to hear the voice of the companies, hear their ideas and also sometimes their concerns, and then together to look for solutions. I think it is very important that we have the full implementation of the CEPA agreement since the 1st of March. And this provides the framework, now the full framework of the EU-Armenia relations, and our aim is to create more jobs and more business opportunities. We want to have better education, more safety and security, a green economy, and fairer rules both for local and foreign businesses. And these ambitious commitments of legal approximation undertaken by the Armenian government under the CEPA agreement, they can serve as a catalyst for the reforms in Armenia. And I repeat it, I often say it, that the Armenian government took the CEPA implementation roadmap as a blueprint for the reform process, shows the willingness and also shows, let's say, the efforts undertaken by this government to really develop the country and also open more opportunity for businesses. We stand next to Armenia in these very difficult times. And the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict created a lot of challenges. I think they left this country traumatized, and we couldn't imagine before. Last year, although we had COVID, the world was a better place, I would say, before the 27th of September. We have mobilized last year significant resources to support Armenia in addressing the COVID crisis, and an overall amount of 92 million in grants was announced in April last year. And we kept our promise, I say, and this morning I saw Deputy Prime Minister Avignon, and we also discussed how we want to work together in the future really to help the social economic recovery of this country. So we have this resilience contract of 30 million that was offered extra financial space for more services, both for people and businesses. And I think we showed that we delivered quite a lot also for businesses in innovation, for businesses in tourism, really to show that we stand by Armenia, and that it is our interest to keep these, especially the small and medium-sized enterprises, alive. So that they can overcome this difficult situation and then restructuring their business, and we go for a new future. And we also have allocated considerable funding to address the urgent need of displaced persons who were affected by the conflict in and around Karabakh, And I think this is an area where we can do much more. And this brings me directly to the idea that everything, social enterprises, social protection, health sector, these are all areas where we will closely work together, but which also offer opportunities for the business. We have, when we offered this resilience contract, discussed, and we are in the final phase, to have a midterm recovery plan, and we discussed it several times with Deputy Prime Minister Kerobyan, and for us it is important to include social economic elements, fiscal policies, public investment management, social spending, and I'm deeply convinced that a recovery needs to see, first of all, also a restructuring and modernization of the health sector, who is totally overstretched right now. But what I also, and this is my appeal to all businesses there, we need to have a green recovery. You know, for the European Union, the Green Deal is the first priority, and we are convinced only if we go for a green recovery, we will really overcome this crisis and also create a better future for our citizens. And this gives both opportunities, and we can really protect this country with all the beauty it has. And I'm very proud that last week I was together with the Swedish ambassador, the Polish ambassador, and representatives of Slovakia and the Czech Republic in Rastan, where we kicked off a new waste deponey, which will then really work according to European standards. And I hope that there will more facilities follow. But I think this is a very good project. It took us some time to develop it, but it is really coming in the right moment, and that's what I think. If we think innovative now, if we think green, if we see new opportunities, I think it is for the benefit of the country, of the environment, of the climate, but also for the people and the businesses. So we have to combine all this. And this brings me to another point. I said it before. In our COVID support program, we really concentrated also on the private sector, the European Union together with the Team Europe, because we and the Team Europe international financial institutions. We aim at supporting micro and small enterprises, mostly through banking facilities, and we are preparing now further support through KfW, EIB, and EBRD. This brings me to the next part, which is very important, also very important for you. Naturally, trade. And all the possibilities of trade are a very important important part of the EU-Armenia relationship. We try to achieve deeper trade and economic cooperation. This is also in line with the Eastern Partnership policies, and the European Union continues to be Armenia's key export market and one of the largest source of foreign direct investment net flow into the Armenian economy. And the trade provisions of CEPA are based on the most recent and most modern international and EU standards, and often go beyond the WTO provisions in terms of ambition. So our objective is to create the right business environment for generating more exports from and attracting more foreign investments into Armenia. And we provide sound basis to achieve these objectives via mutual liberalization of trade and services, and also in the field of public procurement. I hope this will help for a further diversification of Armenian exports to the European Union, and also an increase of small and medium-sized enterprises in this mutual trade. And we all know clear, transparent rules and procedures are crucial to trade, to investment, but also for a better investment climate. So that's one of the reasons, not the only one, why we are so strong also on working on the judiciary reform, because you need to have a clear environment. I always say it doesn't need to be the best one, but it needs to be transparent, and it shouldn't change every 2 minutes, because this makes businesses nervous. So these aspects, and a lot of this is going on in direct contact. They are not so much visible or measurable in the short term for consumers or producers, but they are necessary for the long-term economic growth, diversification, and also the possibility to attract investment and spur private investment. And I think this gets even more important in now, where we see that Armenia is under an enormous pressure. Just to let you all know, and also to give, let's say, colleagues the idea to think it over, we were asked by the Armenian government to consider to do more in the south. I think we all know that Munich is a mass that now is under real stress and faces a lot of challenges, and therefore the EU, but also here this delegation, together with the government and also the governor of Munich, we are considering what we can do more in the south, really to help to overcome this difficulty. And we are right now in the phase where we are working together for the next 7 years. So we are setting together the priorities for the cooperation in the next 7 years. And naturally, the social economic development remains one of the key pillars of our cooperation. So this will go on. I should perhaps mention that the GSP Plus preferences had a very positive effect on the Armenian exports to the European Union, and the forthcoming graduation from GSP Plus is a positive story of economic development, and it shows that Armenia has been classified by the World Bank as an upper middle income country. We will try to do our best and to continue to work on this. We want to see that Armenia prospers and integrates into the world economy, and CEPA can ensure a lasting development in this reaction. One other thing, I think I see some of my colleagues from member states. I think this is very important to mention, and perhaps it's also important for businesses. I think we really, and I'm proud of this, what we learned last year, sometimes it takes us a long time. We have to discuss, because we are 27 and we have to find joint agreements. But I think what the European Union really delivered is a Team Europe approach. And it also worked very well here in Armenia. I think this we approved last year during the COVID crisis. and we continue to do so. And coming from this very positive experience that we say the European Union together with the international financial institutions and the member state, if we deliver together, we deliver more and we deliver better. So this will really remain one of our targets of cooperation for the next period. And we are, as I said, right now developing the elements for the next 7 years, which is economic recovery, but also the reform process. It is digitalization. You cannot go without it. Here we find, I think, quite substantial opportunities in Armenia. Here are highly talented young people, and I think this is also the intention of the government to make this a new technology hub. So technology, innovation, STEM, all these are areas which are of importance, and naturally it is also very important that we do more together in the field of education. This is something you need, because you need a workforce that has the appropriate skills. And well, I'm German, everybody knows it, so I'm a strong supporter of the idea of vocational education. I think this helps to modernize a system of education, because not everything needs to be done via universities. And I just gave some opening remark for a small project we says that exactly says from skills to jobs. So where we offer young people work-based education. So I think this is a important way forward. There we need you on our side, because if you develop vocational education, you always have to produce for the market. So this means we need also an exchange of views between the relevant ministries to have a joint approach and to do more in this direction. In the future, I think we will really do our very best to have a new trade support project, which will provide laboratories and capacity under the SEPA reform facility, which again should facilitate foreign trade, helping in internationalization of leading companies and really bring things together. And last but not least, because I mentioned the question of the green element, our green agriculture program with ADA, and also our tourism program together with the GIZ, as well as the recently launched LEAD program, are accelerating for communities. And I think I discussed it with the minister. It is important that we take the opportunities for communities, for farmers, for micro-tourism business, and we do it in the northern regions, but this can be a flagship that can then be expanded. And I want to take the opportunity to say we all suffered a lot under COVID. This is really a problem. But in the same time, we learned that we can communicate much easier if we use these technologies. Not that I want endlessly to look into Zoom conferences, but it offers us opportunities. And I think if we really use this to modernize, also, for example, to make Armenia more attractive, but also more known, we can use these modern tools, which we now had to use for 1 year. And yes, one day I will also prefer to go in a real concert and not to have it online. But as the time is, it gives us opportunities, and it gives the opportunity to develop new businesses. And I'm convinced in this we will have a lot of progress. So I'm here to listen to all of you, to hear your ideas, also your concerns. I think this is important, and together we will hopefully soon overcome this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And now I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Economy of the Republic of Armenia, Mr. Vahan Kerobyan.
Hello, my dear ambassador, my dear friends. I'm very glad to meet you from a very nice building in Gyumri, new to Mo Center, which is not yet officially opened. But we had today a discussion here, and I had to join from here. So this is an amazing and very iconic place, and old theater, which assumed to be a new theater of education and technology. And here today we had a meeting with some investors, more than 10 companies and organizations that previously initiated Gumayri investment project, a large-scale project of Gyumri's urban regeneration and cultural recovery and tourism recovery. So today we decided that we will be restarting, I would say, the project and push it to bring prosperity to this beautiful city. And by the way, just reacting to ambassador's note regarding vocational education. So I'll be asking you to start the culinary school project in Gyumri that Tumo's management and Maidu and Begor are advocating for. So and this is a very nice example of how we can bring correct education to people in this region. So I just, of course, last year was a very tough year for Armenia, and we had 7.6% decline on the economy, and budget deficit was quite large, and I think it was approximately 5.5% compared to GDP, and the government debt was also more than 60%. It was just 53.5% compared to GDP, which is a bit more than allowed by law. But this year we go up to 72 or 70 to 75% compared to GDP. The deficit will also be approximately 5% to GDP. We have many challenges in front of us, and 2021 is a year where we want to see V-shaped recovery and fully recover from decline of 2020, and we are doing a lot of efforts to bring this to make this happen. And one of that efforts is just today's meeting here, and we have several such initiatives to push investment projects and to also change investment climate in a way that more and more investments are allowed to reach the market. Of course, we have a lot of issues also on the public investment side, and we have to ourselves and be able to do more quality public investment projects, properly choose such projects, and I think that our newly established public investment management process that we had in Ministry of Economy is a good start. Although I think that as an ex-businessman, I think that it had to be in place like 20 years ago. But I mean, we now have it in place, and hopefully all future projects will be properly assessed, and public money will go to the right projects. And regarding inflation, of course, we are now in a peak of inflation. It's just close to 6% compared to last year. But this has two different factors here. One is that international factors, I would say, which I would divide into two main parts. And one is that logistics costs increased a lot, especially from China and from Russia, and also commodity prices are in a peak. But we hope, and there are clear signs for that in near future we will see a decline in commodity prices. Although high inflation is expected also in developed countries such as United States and also I think Europe too. We have, regarding our actions that we have now, I'd also like to mention that we proposed and we presented a new economic policy to the government, which is now in the discussion mode. But I think that we have had a very nice introduction of it last Sunday in Delegation with prime ministers and economic side of the government, and we had identified and we had stressed some very important aspects of how we want to grow. And of course, the first and most important thing is that we want to grow based on human capital, and to ensure that each person in Armenia delivers highest possible value added and creates as much value as possible, because we are a nation, small population, and if you want to have a strong economy, then each individual should be able to deliver high value added. And of course, science and technology and modernization of economy is key to that. And of course, inclusion of science in the economic growth will be in next decade, probably, if we start now and start hard. But technological and modernization can happen sooner. One of the key elements of cooperation with the European Union will be working closely in the modernization of economy, because here we want to use Europe's knowledge and Europe's experience here from on one side, and And of course, EIB and EBRD can be also be involved as a financing partners of the modernization of economy. The other key part of the new economic policy is that we want to grow green, and this is a very important, not to a very important underlining and bolding our commitment to grow in a very sustainable way, because we don't want to grow just for the growth. We want to grow in a way that people live better, and they can live better only in a sustainable environment and green environment. And we also want to contribute to the world's climate challenges and help address this existential challenge in a proper way. The other important aspects of our new economic policy is investment side of it, and we know that, I mean, if you go back and recall Armenia 2050 vision, where it was one of the main mega targets was creation of 1.5 million technological and high-tech jobs. So if we just recalculate this figure into investment, then we can see that, or we can just translate this that each year we need investments for at least $5 billion, so that we are able to create 1.5 million jobs in the next 30 years. And of course, our current pace of investment absorption is much less, but we have to change our legal system and judicial system, and I think that all aspects of our governance, public and community, so that we are able to absorb and ask for such investments, and then be able to absorb such investments. Of course, one of the very important things will be infrastructures, and here we want to start building industrial zones and industrial parks. And currently we are on the development of 4 such parks, one of which will be in Gyumri, and it's a dry port and industrial park. And we're working closely with many parties, and here Ambassador of the Netherlands helps us a lot, and because a Dutch company is called APM Terminals, is Potiport's operator, and they're also interested in having operations also in Gyumri. Also Port of Rotterdam is interested, Dubai Port, and the Philippines ICTSI. So one of the projects is in Gyumri, another project is in Meri, in the southern border, where we have a free economic zone, and we already have some already very close to signing agreement with Iranian Innovation Center that will start building industrial facilities there. Another one we are going to build in Abovyan, and actually Abovyan is already started, and it's a 100 hectares zone, and our Swiss Armenian investor Vahan is the anchor investor there, and I think that I've been there a 3 weeks ago, and they're doing good progress there. Construction works are going very fast, and here we will also help them to attract many businesses. The fourth one will be in Arad, but it's in the seed stage, I would say. But bringing this infrastructure in place will allow many companies from different countries and many from European countries to come over and set up their businesses in Armenia to tap the whole Eurasian Union. And our main appeal for bringing such businesses to Armenia is that Armenia is the most free economy of the Union, say, and we can offer good incentives to work from Armenia. And I think that Gyumri is a town where we would give very big incentives for European companies. I don't want to go deep into details. Also, we are just the final note. Also, we are working on the new a new tax code, which will have fully in line with one philosophy. Currently, our tax code is very fragmented. One aspect of the business works in one way, and the other aspect of the tax code works in a different way. So you want to put a clear and common logic inside the tax code, which will allow inclusiveness of the economy, because currently our two different tax regimes just cut our economy into two parts, and we are not able. So these two parts are not communicating properly to each other, and our new proposed approach will help us to have a more inclusive economy. Also, just the final note is that in my job, I just involve as many Armenians from abroad as possible. Today, when we were here, I just found myself that together with me is one Armenian from Luxembourg, another one is from Zurich, the third one is from Geneva, the fourth one from Moscow, another one is from London. So, and just 2 or 3 are from Yerevan or from Armenia. So I think that we also have to move very aggressively to include or to ask a lot of people from abroad to come over and to help us in building our country together. This is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kerobyan. So now we are moving to the very important part, and we would like you to hear our members' presentations, which are they are crucial for us, for EBA, and at least 5 of them, they will talk about very important issues from the perspective of foreign investors, and actually ArmSwissBank is one of them. You just mentioned this person from Armenian diaspora, and they will also raise their issue, and we are kindly asking you to hear those presentations. I know that you are short of time, but we will not let you go at least till you hear those 5 presentations. And in order
I
not
will definitely run away at 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, just I don't want to let other people wait for me. So therefore, I would really ask you to just fit until 4 o'clock, and then I have to really, I'm very sorry, but
so it's our first meeting. I think we will also have another one, because for us it is really very important.
So
and yeah, on behalf of some of our members, I would also like to thank you. Some of them, they mentioned that you already helped and support lots of them. So just to continue our presentations, I'm now fast go forward, and I
May I make a very practical proposal? I would say we listen to you, the minister has to leave, but do a short written notice and give it then, because this makes things much easier than to follow up, if you agree, Mr. Minister. Yeah? So even if you cannot hear all 5, you can write it down, and I think we will then see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm also recording the meeting. We will share with you, with the minister, so later when he has time, he will see this video as well. So we will keep in touch and we will follow up for sure, and we are in touch.
But
so,
if you make notes and clear requests, then I will definitely do my best to be helpful.
Okay, so then for 5 presentations, yeah, so please be short in order to manage what we want to take from the minister. So the next person is Vice Chairman of European Business Association, Executive Director of Intracom Armenia, Mr. George Blekas.
Hello, thank you, Diana. Your Excellency, Madam Ambassador, Mr. Minister, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting this together with the European Business Association. Respecting especially the time of the minister, and because I don't like to point towards very specific issues, okay, at least not regarding my company, I would like to use my time slot for 5 minutes, I hope only, just to bring up a few issues that are common for all the business environment of the country. I believe that these few points that I will bring up are something that are touching all of us, and that I believe that they should be included in the roadmap that you are planning ahead, the 7 years that Madam Ambassador mentioned, the 10 years ahead that you, Mr. Minister, you have mentioned. And these are things that we need to start, as you said, Mr. Minister, now, in order for us to start seeing some results, hopefully after some years. So, what are these things? Point 1, if you are referring to new investments, there are already existing foreign investments in the country, too many companies that they are still in Armenia. We are still in Armenia. Foreign multinational companies, European multinational companies, like the one that I'm heading, thanks God. And we are still in Armenia. We do believe in Armenia still, despite all the difficulties, despite all the not so positive numbers that you have said even before. And we are doing our best. I believe that we, the business that we are already there and doing business, we are your best media, your best ambassador abroad to transfer the message that yes, Armenia has a healthy business environment and come to invest. So this is one point. You mentioned technology, digitalization, education. Okay, Madam Ambassador. You mentioned also TUMO. TUMO is a very good example. Congratulations to Armenia. And Armenia is exporting this concept abroad. This is very good. So you have the basis. You have also the people. You said before that this is based on the growth on human capital, Mr. Minister, and Madam Ambassador mentioned the key word. The key word is together, obviously. We need to put emphasis into this. However, there is a very big pitfall here. This is what I'm saying to other countries that I have the pleasure of working, this is what I have been discussing with the GIZ, not in Armenia, in some other country, with the World Bank, again in another country. The big pitfall here, to be careful, is the brain drain. Skilled labor is leaving the country. This is something that I think it should be on the very top of the priorities, to keep the people that they have the knowledge in the country. If business have access to skilled labor, they will come, they will invest into the country, especially in technological sectors, like the sector that I'm doing business. A few other points for me to try to be brief and not to chew up time from my fellow colleagues that are going to present their cases afterwards. You mentioned the tax code. Yes, please do your best. Some work needs to be done there, but not only of the tax code as a document in written, also in the interpretation. We have problems all the business because the state institutions, sometimes they see things with a green color, with a yellow color, with an orange color. So it's a matter of interpretation, and this is not fair. This is not fair. It has to be black or white. Should I pay taxes? Should I not pay taxes? How much are the taxes? And that's it. It should not be left on some, I don't know, doesn't matter, director of tax office or supervisor of tax office, if and how much are my taxes, my company's taxes. The other point that you have touched, and I agree fully, is the judicial system. Yeah, much work needs to be done there also. Unfortunately, we have major problems with the business world, okay, in the country. The problem is that, unfortunately, we have issues with the judicial system not being impartial, not being independent somehow. This is not good, and we see it, we feel it. We have many members of the European Business Association that are expressing dissatisfaction that they cannot use the rule of law in order for them to pursue their business rights. Another point, and I would like to close with this, we need also to do something about the free and open competition. Unfortunately, we do not have the concept of public tenders. Unfortunately, this is something that is inhibiting business to participate, to really participate, and to have a free and open competition with other companies. I don't mind to compete with Italian companies, with German companies, with companies from all over the world for any projects that Armenia state will need to perform. But at least for me, for my company, and for all the companies to have the chance of being able to participate. Unfortunately, this is a blocking point also. So I wouldn't like to take much of your time. Thank you very much, at least for listening to me on behalf of the European Business Association. And I will give it back to Diana to continue with the rest of my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. And now we would like to give the floor to General Manager of Carrefour Hypermarket, Mr. Vatche Arsene.
Happy afternoon. Yes, happy afternoon, Your Excellency, Mrs. Wiktorin, Honorable Minister of Economy, Mr. Kerobyan, and Mrs. Diana. Thank you for the opportunity that you gave us that Carrefour will interpret. Actually, Carrefour exists on the Armenian market since 2015. Many difficulties we faced in the local market. Mainly, the main difficulties that we faced is the unfair competition that we got. And that difficulties made us about almost to leave the country and leave the business in Armenia in 2017. But fortunately, the company decided to stay and go on and continue. Today, we have 3 stores in Armenia and 1 digital business partnership with one of the local partners. We are facing still some problems in the local market. One of them is the unfair competition, but not like before, to be honest. Before it was very tough, it was difficult. Day after day, we see changes in the approach of the unfair competition, but still could be much better. And especially that foreign investment wants to enter Armenia, securing their businesses is very important. We have many challenges today to grow in our business. The tax field that Mr. Georgis mentioned also is one of the points to improve. And the Minister of Economy, he pointed already that improvement will be done on that field. Many challenges today also because of the difficulty and the problems of COVID brought to all the businesses in the countries, not only in Armenia. But one of the problems that we're facing also on local market are the fake products. So we still have a lot of unprotected brands and fake products on the local market, which are harming the competition or the unfair competition that we are talking in the local market. Being a European company, Carrefour is importing a lot of products from the European Union, mainly from France and all the other European countries. And today, the Euro-Asian Custom Union is not very much helpful for us in terms of competition between European products and the Euro-Asian customs countries. But we're trying to go forward because we want to secure the European market also in Armenia. I will go fast. I will speak briefly so everybody will have the chance to talk to the Minister of Economy. I will talk also on the positive part. After those years passed in Armenia since 2012, 15 operational, finally Carrefour decided to invest in the country, and we got the approval from our head office to invest 10 operational stores till March 2022 as a first step, and to invest another 10 stores till end of 2023. And if the business is secured by the government without having any difficulties or unfair competition or problems, our investment that will be secure will go onwards to out of Yerevan and to invest in the suburbs. Meanwhile, the development of Carrefour with the 10 stores that we are already starting with will take part also of the development of the sustainability, and we will work on having sustainable stores because our strategy in the company is also oriented to the green and sustainable future for the world. In addition to all this, we have lots of plans of CSR for Armenia. We want that the success story that we want to try to show will be an example, especially in those difficult period time for Armenia and for the country, to show foreign investors that a big retailer, European retailer like Carrefour is investing in the country in those difficult moments. I spoke about the bad part because always they say Carrefour only complains because they have difficulty. So today I will take this opportunity also to talk about the investment that Carrefour wants to do in Armenia. Thank you so much. I will not take more of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vatche. And now quickly, I would like to give a chance to speak also to ArmSwissBank, Mr. Makaryan. We also passed the document before to the Minister of Economy personally, so I think he knows about the issue, but it's better very quickly in order to give also a chance to another, maybe couple minutes.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for this chance. And Mr. Kerobyan, first of all, I would like to emphasize that we joined to the board of colleagues, and we hear a lot of positive feedbacks for the efforts of Ministry of Economy, and would like to also emphasize that the issues which we would raise today, please take it not as a complaint to the efforts of Ministry of Economy, but as a general issue which we would like to raise and to bring your attention to these points. I would like to bring your attention to one issue related to licensing issues, which to the activities and projects which are related to some permissions and licensings. As we all know, one of the key points for attracting local and foreign investments to our country, this is the stable economic situation in the country, predictability and protection of investor rights. These are very important points which would make our investment climate very attractive for the investors. And also second important part for the investment climate is banking system, because the banks play a big role for promoting and leveraging the investments in our country. Now we do many projects in residential construction sector, in solar energy sector, renewable energy sector, and all these sectors are why I emphasize this, because they require some permissions and licensing from the state. And to be very short, why we raise this topic is that in some cases, investors come to bank, they get licenses or permission from state, from other bodies, and start to make investments. And based on the documents which are provided from the state bodies, the bank reviews the projects and makes channels financing for the projects. Sometimes it happened that during some phase of project, the investors meet problems and barriers because the state bodies or other regulators or maybe court cases can stop the activity or can change the permission terms, which would affect the investment very significantly. And this would harm our investment climate, our image, and would of course decrease the attractiveness of the market. And not to say it only on words, we can bring also some examples which you may be aware of, but to give some practical examples, and we ask for your help, for assistance to raise these issues to the appropriate bodies and solve these questions. And as an example, in 2016, our bank and also indirect final beneficiary of the bank, Mr. Vartan Sigmakes, owned one fishery. As a collateral, it was pledged in the bank, and we received this as an asset for the loan. This fishery had water permission, but because of some regulations, it became ineffective. And now we have a situation when we have a fishery as an asset, but it does not have a water permission, and without this water permission, of course, you know that it becomes just an agricultural land if you cannot use it, and you cannot use the potential of this asset on a proper way. And we see this as a result of not proper regulation and not proper management of licensing system and granting permissions, because back then this fishery had permission and it could use water, could generate some value for our economy. There are details, but I would not take much time because we have some limitation. And second point is related to small hydropower plant sector, in which our bank is quite active. There is a river, Heghine, in Vayotdzor region, where we have 17 small hydropower plants, and many of these hydropower plants were financed under KfW program, and we attracted funding for these projects and take a risk, because all of them had feasibility studies, had permissions granted by state, and so people made investments and the bank channeled some resources. But now we face a situation when these small hydropower plants are not operating for already more than 1 year. They are stopped because the water direction, it was decided to change. I would like to emphasize that, of course, we have problems for proper use of water resources. This is not a question, and it was also back then. And we have here room for improving the water management system. But again, this is not a solution when just not taking into account rights of investors, the effect that can face banks and can damage our portfolio and investor rights. So these waters were channeled to other direction, and now we have big problem. To not take much time and be very short, we would like to raise this issue, pay your attention, and ask you to raised these questions also during the meetings with governments and state bodies, because improvement of the situation and proper protection of investor rights, of course, would improve our investment climate and would help to bring more and more investments. And if lack of this regulation would harm banking system and also investment climate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Diana,
Asek.
I have to leave now, but just in 2 words, I will react to the comments of my colleagues, if you allow. Then I will run away. So of course I know two problems that ArmSwissBank has, and I am fully on the side of the investors, because in both cases government released licenses, and of course they have to deliver obligations or commitments they have provided, and we are working now with the Ministry of Environment to help resolve these both issues with fishery and hydropower plant. I also want to take the opportunity and say that we very much value such comments or such problems, I would say, that are arising from banks or consulting firms or directly from businesses, because and we are very much eager to solve these problems, and we see a big opportunity that once we solve these problems, that we can, of course, ensure the growth. Yeah? And I would also like to add that ArmSwissBank's president, I think, Mr. Makaryan, is invited as a board member in the state-owned expert insurance company, and in all other state-owned companies we involve people from private sector, and also one place is reserved to Armenian Institute of Directors to bring in corporate culture to these state-owned companies. Regarding Vatche's comments, I know the story of unfair competition, and I'm sure that everything is not resolved by now. But it's, I mean, at least this is not so obvious and not so rude now, and government is working to demolish all unfair competition moments, and of course it's very good to hear that Carrefour is investing in 10 new stores. I'm also just posting back good news. One tax code change that we propose is the one related to taxation of fresh produce, which is a big headache for organized retail groups. So that I think that once we solve this, we may bring back a big portion of agriculture sector of economy to the transparent side of the economy, because now 95% of the business is in the shadow side of the economy, and that's because of the non-workable tax code. Regarding George's comments, I just want to say that I'd like to learn more about unfairness in the public tenders, and also the problems that they have on the border, customs clearance. I'll try to solve these issues there. And just to also comment on your first note regarding interaction of already existing foreign investors. I'd also like to say that for me, the businesses that now work in Armenia are our top priority, because these are the investors that already believe in Armenia, and helping them will definitely mean 100% conversion, and the efforts will be paid off immediately. And therefore, for me, top priority is businesses that are now working in Armenia. So I think that I can ask my ex-student Diana to share my contacts, both email and phone number, with members of the association, so that everyone can reach me out if there's a problem there or opportunity.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much. Actually, I would like again to thank you, Mr. Kerobyan, for your constructive and positive cooperation with EBA, because these kind of constructive public-private dialogue platforms are very important, not only for our members. It is important for Armenian government. It is important for European Union. It is important for all of us. And again, we are listening and we are hearing lots of positive feedbacks, and they are expressing their gratitude to you as a minister by helping and supporting private sector. So we hope to continue our cooperation, and we will be definitely in touch with you. I will also send you additional issues and questions, and we are in touch with you also on Facebook, which is very quickly. And thank you again for being accessible, because, and what you just mentioned, that you are ready to work with currently operating investors, it is right what all of our members, they wanted to hear from you. So thanks again. And for other presenters, we will share with you. Anyway, I will send you the video so you will hear. I will send you all materials, information. I will share your contacts, and we will keep in touch. We will follow up. Thank you very much, Mr. Kerobyan. And we are continuing our presentations. Actually, the next speaker is also very much important. I wanted Minister to hear it very much, but unfortunately he can't, but we will share it, Heghine. And after your presentation, I will also share one small video that I received today from the border about unfairness on the border of Russia and Georgia. I want to share it with all of you, and we will send it to the minister as well after our conference. So now I'm giving the floor to representative of Unitrans, who is official exclusive representative of DHL German company in Armenia, Ms. Heghine Armenyan.
Good afternoon to everybody, to Mrs. Ambassador and all the businesses, and not only businesses representatives. I would really like to be indeed short, and I also feel pity that Mr. Minister could not listen to my very, very small presentation, because actually the questions I would like to raise relate to Armenia and logistics, let's say narrow points in logistics that affect development, economic development of Armenia. First point is, of course, Lars, as you mentioned, on the border of Russia and Georgia. It is so much spoken about Lars that I wouldn't like to speak any more about it, but still it is #1 problem. Second issue that I would like to pay attention is a Poti port related to the ocean freight rates increase to the Poti port. So, and it is not no special explanation is given to this rates increase. Initially, it was supposed that it is because of COVID situation, but now since economies are returning to their slowly or more or less slowly or quickly return to their normal way of doing business, still rates remain too high for Poti port, and it is very, it affects Armenian transportation rates a lot, because Poti is our main port, unfortunately, at the moment. So I would like to suggest to develop also infrastructure with Iran on the state level also, on a level of small companies, for example, like our company, we try to do transportations via Iran, but still, I think I would like to suggest our government to pay attention to this opportunity too. And another thing that I would like Armenian government pay attention is on the development of Zvartnots airport potential in terms of cargo transportation, because, for example, for air freight from China, and you know that China is one of the main business partners of Armenia, in terms of imports, we use mainly Tbilisi airport, not Yerevan airport, because there are no flights, commercial, cargo, for cargo transportation, no flights to Yerevan. And we use Tbilisi airport, and unfortunately, or I don't know, maybe it is risky and very dependent on political situation, we use Turkish Airlines. I mean, this is Turkish Airlines that bring now Armenian cargoes to Tbilisi. So I would like to pay attention to this fact also, because in kind of any political, let's say, let's call it unstable situation, or we may call it political aggression, or how we will call it. I don't want to go into this question, but it is again under risk. So these are the three main questions that I would like again to bring to attention of our government, just for their actions and preventive measures, let's say. I mean, concerning the last question, I mean, maybe it has a sense to develop somehow our cargo transportation directly to Zvartnots airport, although I know this is not an easy question. I know about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Heghine. Actually, if you allow, I will share one small video with you, because I think it's important. Just today, they sent me the situation on the border. I want to share the screen. I don't know why, actually. Wait, I will share the screen. So there are two roads that are coming to the border of Georgia. One is coming from Russia, from Petigorsk city, and another is coming from the another city, Grozny, and which is closer to Azerbaijani border. And all cars that are coming from Azerbaijan, they are passing without line. They are not even waiting, just passing the border. But Armenian cars, they are waiting for several days, for several weeks. I just want to share, to raise this issue, and later we will discuss it. Not today, of course. We will discuss it later. Okay, I want to share the screen. Here it is. Do you see it? You see?
Yes.
So these are all cars that are passing without waiting. But these are on the left side, the Armenian cars, Armenian tracks.
Huge queue. It's incredible.
So I stop here. I will then share it also with the minister. I will send this link to him as well. Let me to close it. Yeah, but also wanted to share with all of you, and I think we need to work at this issue as well. And the next speaker in our agenda, a representative of Coca-Cola Hellenic, Miss Lusine Mnatsakanyan. But I have one kind request, Lusine. After 4 minutes, Mr. Schneider is joining us.
Yeah.
If he joins, you know that he's joining from the airport. He is in transit. We can interrupt and then you will continue if possible. And also would like to mention that your issue that you will talk about now, we will also raise it with the Ministry of Finance and State Revenue Committee, because it is more technical issue, and you know that we are board member of councils under those two bodies. So we will follow up with you and with your top managers to follow up this question. And now the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Dear Diana, just about the presentation, may I share or you will share from your side?
Yeah, I will share.
Oh, I tried to share. I don't know if it's visible.
A minute.
Okay, then I'm stopping sharing.
Oh, you can also share actually.
Because I see that I can do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Just let me know when you can see it and I will start.
Yes, we can see it. Continue.
Yeah. Is it already visible on presentation mode?
Yes. Go ahead.
Hello everyone, and thanks for your time and thanks for this great initiative that brings us together, and we have an opportunity to speak about the issues that the businesses face. I will try to keep it brief and shifting to our description as a company. I would say that we are operating in Armenian market already 25 years and bringing great value to Armenian economy and trying to bring happiness to our consumers. Figures show that we have significant impact, and we also are active members of business chambers, active members of private and public sector dialogues, and trying to help our country to become better. And we would like to underline key directions where we see that the developments are needed. Jana, is already third slide visible? Yes. And talking about businesses and even international other organizations entering Armenia, we would say that there are three main directions capturing the environment. First is more general, how to register there and how to enter there. Second is about taxation, because any activity brings taxation. And the third one is labor law and regulations, because these directions also is kind of implied for everyone. So in these directions, what we captured as an opportunity for development are the following. As general business regulatory environment, we would like to say that Armenian law on foreign investments, Armenian law on joint stock companies and limited liability companies, Armenian law on trade and services, where I would say that 80% of foreign businesses entering are involved, are, I would say, outdated, because they are coming from 94th or 24th maximum year. They have been further amended frequently or not so frequently, and we are facing an issue that now they are not reflecting current business environment. What is there needed by joint efforts of private sector and public sector, where such business associations have a great role to play to consolidate us and further to cascade this, to create this dialogue, to serve as a platform. We are pointing out that there is a need to have up-to-date general regulations, ensuring predictability for the business. All of our key speakers today mentioned that predictability is the key issue that the businesses face, which can prevent further investments. And about tax regulatory environment, we would like to mention that here also there is a room to develop, which was also mentioned. That it's nice to see that everyone notices this. What we have. Yes.
Can I now interrupt you?
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll stop here, this tax regulation, and then we will continue. Okay. Mr. Ulf, you are here, Mr. Schneider.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you see, our presenter is giving her place to you, because we know that you are very short of time. You are talking from the airport. So Lusine, can you stop the screen sharing? I will now open the presentation of Schneider.
Yeah.
And you
actually,
can
Diana,
start.
my aircraft was a little bit early, so I already made it to my office.
Oh, good.
And but the problem indeed is I have to then run for another meeting as well. So I very much apologize, and I appreciate the flexibility.
Okay, so you see, Armenian colleagues are giving the floor to foreign investors. This is also a positive sign for foreign investors. So, okay, good. The floor is yours, Mr. Schneider. Go ahead.
If you can maybe put the presentation on full screen mode.
Wait a minute. I think it's full screen, no?
Good. Let me start anyway. Dear Ambassador Wiktorin, dear Minister Kerobyan, and dear participants, thank you very much, first of all, for the flexibility that you give me the space right away. Indeed, yes, we are at the right slide. I would briefly like to introduce myself, Ulf Schneider. I run a business of about 500 staff in 9 countries. I started 2003 first in Moscow, and one of my most recent offices is the one I opened 2.5 years ago in Armenia, in Yerevan. And despite the very difficult times, in particular that Armenia went through the last 12 months, and not only with the pandemics, also with the tragedy with the neighbors, I do not regret at all that I opened the office in Armenia, and we are developing, and I'm very happy about this. I was in Yerevan about 2 weeks ago. Diana remembers that. I had a wonderful evening with about 30 guests, and the topic was what role Armenia could play within a common economic space from Lisbon to Vladivostok. And this is also a little bit what I would like to speak about. Allow me before a couple of other further comments. In total, I will not speak longer than 7-8 minutes. So the Armenian office is one of the most recent ones. This is not my slide. So you can go for the next slide, please. What I do with my company is mainly accompanying foreign investors with all the required services, starting from company registration, market analysis, accounting, tax, legal outsourcing functions. And I see indeed very good reasons why Armenia is an interesting country for Western investors, and how it could, to my mind, even do better in marketing in the West. This would be the next slide. So I see we have a little bit of problem with the slides. Then let me make it maybe without slides. That is also fine. Here we are. So yeah, there we are.
This one?
And I was thinking a little bit when I talk to foreign investors or to investors in the West. Yes, please keep this one. When I talk to foreign investors, to investors from European Union, but also maybe other countries, and I describe a little bit Armenia and what opportunities we have, very often I see that there could be more focus, to my mind, on, for instance, the following advantages that Armenia grants to European companies. First of all, Armenia is not really well known yet in most of the European Union countries for its very strong IT sector. When you talk about IT in the European Union, first of all, most of the mid and big-sized companies think about India for outsourcing, etc. If we talk more about nearshoring for IT, then maybe you talk about Russia, maybe you talk about Ukraine, maybe even Belarus, but very seldom I hear about Armenia. And I think Armenia could do its point in giving great examples. I've seen quite some IT firms in Armenia, for instance, who work on great developments for payment systems. So tomorrow I will go by German railways, Deutsche Bahn, and the payment system that they use, German railways, is actually developed in Armenia. Who knows this? We have in Germany, for instance, quite, as you know, and not only Germany, also France, Italy, very strong automotive industry. And all the suppliers, they are working very much on Internet of Things and Industry 4.0. And you have in Armenia, for instance, quite a lot of IT companies that focus specifically on granting support to the automotive industry. I could give a couple of other examples, but this demonstrates that Armenia is really very good in specific sectors, and this should be, to my mind, should be worked out much better, in particular in the West. Textile sector is for me another one. Textile sector with high quality manufacturing, where I also do know quite a lot of good examples where the Western fashion industry partially uses manufacturing facilities in Armenia. Also, this is not very well known, but I think it's something that Armenia could bring much better to market in the European Union. East-West integration or East-West cooperation. Armenia, as a member of the Eurasian Economic Union, in many cases can be a good entry for registration within the entire Eurasian Economic Union. What do I mean with that? Let's take, for instance, the pharmaceutical sector, in that we do accompany a couple of interesting foreign investors in the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union. And I remember very well a meeting that I once had, I think it's about 1.5, 2 years ago, with the Minister of Health. And we discussed how Armenia can be an entry point, that you register a drug through Armenia right away for the entire Eurasian Economic Union. This saves cost, and it in particular makes it much more efficient in terms of timing. Because when you go through all the 5 countries, including Russia, of the Eurasian Economic Union, it takes a much longer time than going it doing it through Armenia, and Armenia coordinates with the other members of the Eurasian Economic Union. So here's a very strong point. I also see the North-South bridge, the bridge to Iran. And quite some, it's not on the top agenda, and with for good reason, but you have quite some also Western companies who structure their Iran business through Armenia. And this is not that they want to do something illegal. No, this is fully compliant, but they simply don't want to be on the radar with this. Yeah? Partially, this is related to the position of the US to Iran. And Armenia is a good bridge country for the business with Iran. And as you know, the Eurasian Economic Union also signed a trade agreement with Iran that was mainly negotiated by good experts from Armenia. So what I wanted to show you on this slide is a little bit my vision how Armenia could further position itself. Now I want to spend 2 minutes briefly on one business initiative, but it goes beyond business. It is about 6 years ago that I started together with other businessmen an initiative for a common economic space from Lisbon to Vladivostok. This is a vision that principally everybody shares. Politicians, businessmen, people share this as a vision. We from business, we said we want to break down this vision to a real concept and action steps, what to do. In the meantime, we are more than 100 members, including from Armenia. For instance, the International Center for Human Development is a very active member, Tevan Pokasyan. I'm sure many of you know him, very active member in our initiative, members from Belarus, from Russia, from Germany, from France, from Italy, from Austria and other countries. What do we want? We all signed a memorandum where we ask the political actors in all countries of the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union to give the European Commission and the Eurasian Economic Commission respectively the mandate to start an official dialogue on the harmonization of regulations. So imagine that once you have machinery produced in one country of either the European Union or the Eurasian Economic Union, you can freely distribute it without additional certification processes in all the countries of both unions. Yeah? Imagine that, for instance, although we are two different unions and it's two different customs territories, but let's imagine the customs processing, trade facilitation is harmonized and is the same all over the two unions. Everything would be much, much easier. And this is a realistic scenario. We defined 6 areas in that we are working on concrete proposals how the two unions should cooperate and harmonize their regulations. And we are going to present these proposals end of June at a forum that we are organizing in Lisbon in a hybrid format. So we would be very happy if the one or the other of all of you is interested to join the initiative and contribute on working on concrete proposals how the two unions could come closer together. Next slide, please. And then I already come to the end. Yes, this one. Armenia as a bridge between the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union. I think the country has a unique chance to be a kind of moderator, a kind of bridge between the two unions, the European Union as well as the Eurasian Economic Union. I want to give you just a couple of ideas why I believe that Armenia can be the essential country that brings the two unions closer together. First of all, Armenia is a member of the Eurasian Economic Union and at the same time has the partnership agreement with the European Union. None of the other members of the Eurasian Economic Union has such a detailed and deep partnership agreement with the European Union. So therefore, Armenia is naturally the country that can serve as a bridge between the two unions. Secondly, with the Armenian diaspora, for instance, in Moscow and in Paris, you have representatives of Armenia in both of the unions, and also this very much contributes to the ideal positioning of Armenia to be a bridge between the two unions. I had a meeting, actually several meetings, with President Sarkisyan, who also expressed his vision on the role of Armenia within such a concept of a common economic space. And I do know that he does not miss opportunities when talking to statesmen, both of the European Union and as well as of the Eurasian Economic Union, stressing this point, how important it is that the two unions come closer together. This just as a couple of examples why I believe that Armenia is an ideal country bridging between the two unions. The evening 2 weeks ago when I was in Yerevan, we had an interesting discussion with lots of the participants on very detailed aspects, how Armenia could serve as a bridge between the two unions. So this would go a little bit too far now, and I'm very sorry I overstretched, as I just see already my time. So appreciate that I had the chance to speak to all of you. I'm very sorry that I cannot be physically at this moment in Yerevan. I was there, as I said, 2 weeks ago, and I'm very much looking forward, probably in May or June, being next time in this beautiful, wonderful country. Thank you much for your attention, and yeah, hope the conference will lead to very positive effects in all directions. I'm sure it will. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schneider. And now, Lusine, Jan, sorry. Yes,
Diana,
yes.
I want to comment on one thing.
Sure.
Very interesting. I also agree that, let's say, the promotion of Armenia as a place for investment could be improved. On this, I think we are also agreeing here in the EU delegation on this idea to start an official dialogue between the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union. There are already contacts on technical level. And you see, I was before head of delegation in Minsk. And I know that my dear, at the time when the situation in this country was a little bit better than now, it was one of the ideas of the Belarusian government. There is a certain obstacle right now, and I think we are just now in a phase where it is even more tense, I would say, and this is the question of Ukraine and the annexation of Crimea. I just give you this as a hint because I know we have contacts on technical level, but before we will start to have an official dialogue, I think certain issues need to be resolved. This was just to know the situation.
Mr. Ambassador, if I may add, thank you very much for this edition. Indeed,
there is a certain... I'm female.
I'm sorry, Miss Ambassador.
No problem. I'm used to this.
Thank you very much for this edition. Indeed, we very much appreciate also this dialogue that is started. We very much hope that out of this, I would call it information flow between the two commissions on the working level, that this will further develop to talks with the objective to work on harmonized regulations. And we see really great chances, and we are looking forward to presenting our proposals as the initiative Lisbon, Vladivostok, end of June to the two commissions. But again, thank you very much that you added about this existing dialogue that we try to promote, and we very much appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much. And if you allow Ms. Lusine Mnatsakanyan to continue, we're short of time already. Actually, it's very extensive agenda, very interesting and comprehensive. So yeah, Lusine, please continue.
Yeah, thank you. And just to continue the idea about the tax code, already 5 years of tests, so to say, showed that if within 5 years tax code is amended 48 times and it's still not matching business needs and public and private sector needs, so we have room to develop here. As we brought just these things as a simple obvious examples, which are absence of credit notes, which is being practiced worldwide, and we haven't regulated this, and it's not making business environment flexible. Absence of retro bonuses, which again affects business environment, and we all know that there is a new product in the circulation, which is gift cards. All of us use them, but we can't imagine how complicated it is to ensure compliant formulations regarding these types of things. So what is there needed is that tax code is adopted on strategy and more policy level, and further there are clear guidances aligned between each of state authorities that business can refer to without any mismatch of understandings of authorities. And the other one is labor law. We know that there is a room to develop, and the challenges businesses face there are definitely high business trips related compensations, which prevent businesses to flexibly arrange this part. There are huge obstacles on foreigners hiring. That's why businesses are trying to find other solutions, which are like service contracting, etc. But at the same time, state may regulate this properly and reach a mutual beneficial situation. And there is an absence of outstaffing or outsourcing on regulations, which again will bring a huge benefit, not even for only for businesses, but also for international organizations, because this is a great tool that if regulated properly, may be further used, referred, and bring relevant taxes to state budget. From the other side, exclude risks for organizations. And summarizing this, we see three main directions to go further. Key thing, as mentioned earlier, is predictability. So state needs to think about it and to ensure that minimum from 3 to 5 years, business environment and regulatory environment should be predictable, so as it may guarantee further development and attractiveness of investment. Because when evaluating risks, if there is no predictability and there is no sustainability, risks are evaluated higher, and international businesses or are not entering or are not expanding their activity. Another is unified aligned approach and so to say state the sole point of contact for the private environment, which is that businesses are not intended to hear that, you know, Ministry of Finance and State Revenue Committee are not agreeing to this point. So you need to like play a ping pong to go there. And when there is an investigation at your side, you need to kind of find a solution. Business needs clear one voice, which is aligned between state action authorities. So we really encourage to drive further this and to ensure that state talks with one and agreed between each other sole voice to private sector. And if there would be a tool continuing this logic, that a business may ask a question that disturbs or needs to be clarified to the state authorities, to government, and to receive one clear answer and not directing to this authority, that authority, then again going through the circle and not finding an answer. This will highly ensure ensure increase of level of confidence to operate within Armenian reality, to have this belief that you are clearly managing your risks, you understand and you are explained how to act, and you doing responsible business, you act in compliance with this. Summarizing this, I would like to thank all of you and hope that we together as members of private sector may really develop further our environment and bring better our regulatory and business environment together. Thank you.
Thank you. We will do for sure. And coming to this point, I would like to introduce and to give the floor to newly appointed chairman of CCI France Armenie, and we have also new chairman at DWV German Business Association. So first will go Mr. Tigran Arakelyan and then Mr. Artashes Makaryan. Just to introduce yourself so that our members, and we know today is, as I mentioned already, is joint event, 4 of our associations, also Armenian Italian Chamber of Commerce is here. So I would like new presidents to introduce themselves briefly. Tigran Jan, you are the first.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank the EBA and Diana for this initiative, and thank the Minister of Economy and Ambassador Andrea Wiktorin for their presence. I am Tigran Arakelyan, the new president of French Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Armenia. Our chamber is being completely restructured with a brand new approach and a brand new policy to support investments. Armenia being a small market, it is more than essential to present Armenia as a gateway to the Eurasian Customs Union market, which has a potential of 200 million consumers in order to attract big companies. Indeed, the other gateway countries as Belarus or Russia are under sanctions. There is no issue in particular. There is one issue in particular that our chamber would like to address. It is the issue of counterfeit products on the Armenian market, which are usually French and European brands. We must absolutely fight against these counterfeit products, which make European companies lose market shares. But the most important thing is that these products are often made with carcinogenic chemicals, such as the fake L'Oreal shampoos sold in Yerevan city supermarket. I think it is important that our chambers of commerce take up this very important issue together, both from an economic and public health perspective. I have obtained the support and expertise of the French Ministry of the Economy on this point. Just another very important project is a touristic and economic project. It is a railway line connecting the following cities: Yerevan, Zvartnots Airport, Hellenic, and the town of Armavir. This area concentrated 60% of the Armenian population. This project is led by the French company Arterail that I represent. I am a director for Caucasus. It is fully financed. We are waiting for political stability in Armenia after the June elections in order to launch this project. Finally, I would like to thank one of our members, Vatche, Arsene, the boss of Carrefour in Armenia, for his presence at this meeting. He gave us good news about the opening of new Carrefour shops. This is very good news for the business climate in Armenia. Carrefour will be the second investor this year after Veolia, both members of the CCI. Thanks for attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tigran. And now the floor passes to Artashes Makaryan, the newly appointed chairman or president of DWV German Business Association. Mr. Makaryan.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, Diana. Well, I'm also glad to take part in this conference today as the president of the board of the German Business Association in Armenia. And well, our mission as DWV is not only to representing the interests of the German corporations in Armenia, but also to build bridge for German-Armenian economical relationship. So we do highly believe that there is so much potential in various fields to collaborate. And we as DWV are doing many events, many projects, like yesterday, for example, to bring both sides together. And I think also the relationship with the European Union and Armenia, and especially the CEPA agreement, gives both sides a major opportunity, the major chances to come together, to collaborate together. And yes, I think events like today are very important to understand where the pain points, what we can do better together. And so, Diana, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all organizers, and thank you very much to all participants. So that's from our side, German Business Association.
Thank you very much, and we're looking forward for fruitful cooperation with you as well.
For sure.
And we have the last speaker for today, the founder of Capital Motors LLC and Walnuts Farms LLC, Mr. Samuel Samuelian.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Diana, for organizing this event and all the associations. And thank you, Your Excellency, for listening to everybody until now. I will keep my word to under 2 minutes. It will be very brief. I just want to say that in the recent few months, the Ministry of Economy has in fact been very forward thinking, and I have already made a few suggestions and claims to the ministry and have received adequate responses and or solutions. So in that way, I will not address them to this meeting today. However, I will mention what are the ongoing challenges that we all face together. A major one, as we all know, is the integration of injured soldiers into our society. And I know that almost everyone, if not everyone here, is already doing their part. And this is going to be a major issue we will need to solve together. The ongoing challenges we have, as we all know, are economies of scale, volume, and consistency, particularly with regards to exporting products. In my case, I do plantations of walnuts. And if I can manage to do the quality consistency, then the volumes are somewhat small with regards to fulfilling big orders. And our challenges is to create consortiums of growers to manage to place orders together. And that is a new chapter in our lives in the agriculture industry. And the margin of error is very small. Because the economy is small, we cannot allow ourselves to have any mistakes. Otherwise, recovery is very, very difficult. I would like to finish my words by quoting the late Lee Kuan Yew, the father of modern Singapore, who I was lucky to attend a meeting with a few years ago when he was in Armenia. Somebody in the audience asked him, what was the success of Singapore from the 60s to the 90s, and how would that apply to Armenia? In one word, he said, the success of Singapore was due to the sea, the openness of the ocean. And the ocean or the sea for Armenia was or is its diaspora. And that we should connect as many bridges as possible with our diaspora in order to attract foreign direct investment, to make our factories grow, to get export orders, and to promote the economies of scale as we see them to happen. Now, a lot of these organizations that are present today or are members of the representative organizations are diasporan fueled or diasporan grown, and I commend all of these or foreign companies that have had some sort of positive relationship with Armenia thanks to this diaspora. So I commend these people and the panelists and the participants. And that's all from me.
Oh, thank you very much. So it was the final panelist for today. I would like to tell a big thank to our ambassador once again. Thank you very much for being with us, for all your support, for participation, for your welcome and very important speech. It is really very important for all of us. And I would like also to mention that we all together with EU member state chambers, we will continue to develop our internal agenda related to foreign investment, climate improvement, and business environment. And we know that the situation in Armenia is not very stable. We know that ministers are changing very often, legislation is changing. So we decided to have our internal agenda. Doesn't matter who is the next minister, prime minister, president, whoever. We will continue to have constructive and positive dialogue with Armenian government and public bodies to improve business environment, to protect foreign investment, to develop Armenian economy in the future. This is what we will do, and we will have our success, I'm sure. And Your Excellency, if you would like to have couple words for the end, we will be very grateful.
It was a great pleasure, and I think there were a lot of good ideas, but also I think it is always important to have the concerns. For us, you see, it is really important to create something, what I said, Team Europe, means both with member states, and it means also business community. Yeah, it is not only to cooperate with the government. So I wanted to say just some words. For example, I'm extremely grateful for Carrefour because they joined us on our initiative together with the Ministry of Environment of our bags, no to plastic. So this is something I wanted to pass here. I think we have now, and this is my impression, a very down-to-earth and engaged Minister of Economy. So I think we hope we keep him for longer. But it is somebody who is coming from a business community, and he has a different spirit. You can feel it when you talk to him. And in many directions, we have similar ideas. I would like to say what was said by Mr. Schneider. Yes, we have to help them also to promote a little bit this country. And you are the ones who can, because you are the bridge between, let's say, European companies and here the situation on the ground. Sometimes Armenia has a little bit a traditional approach how to present the country, and I can't agree more really to go in this broad variety. And I just want to say it would be good if you put it together, not the videos, you can spread. I doubt whether the minister has the time to look at them. So it's better then to have a short list of the main requests, considerations, recommendations. I think he takes it up because he is really great. I was very happy also to hear that you see the IT sector as a possibility really to be promoted. One of our biggest projects is the EU Tumor Convergency Center, so we are extremely proud to cooperate with TUMO. And it could be interesting that you also get a little bit in contact with some of the, there are some organizations that in certain areas active, for example, the Union of Advanced Technology Enterprises. And there you have Armenians, diaspora Armenians, who have a new approach, I think, and this can help. There is never a good way to lecture people. I think if you lecture, you create let's say a negative feeling, but to promote what is really good here and then to propose what we can make better together is a good idea. And I would also just tell you, look a little bit what we are doing. Perhaps you find also opportunities, whether you see via the GIZ, what we are doing in the northern masses, in tourism, in innovation, what we do with the Austrian Development Agency in green agriculture, what we want to do for regional development. Perhaps there are one or two ideas which can help, and I'm really looking forward to get also your summary of this. And if you have problems, you know where to find us. I was very much impressed about the Georgian-Russian border, I must say. My move was at when it came stuck for 1 week in bloody Kafkas. So don't tell me I still have this impression. And this is something that has not to be dealt on the level of the economic side. It needs to be done via the foreign ministry. This would be first response. And I know that the deputy minister who is responsible for Europe and the cooperation with the European Union is very engaged. They have a good relation to Georgia, so I don't see why Armenian trucks have to stand in the line and the Azeris are driving through. But perhaps there is a possibility to take it up if one gets a little bit more of the reasoning, also to speak. Really, I'm willing to also speak with the foreign ministry here to see if something can be done. And I can always ask my dear friend in Tbilisi how he sees the situation, whether they have any impact. So we stand ready to support you. You all know Karen, who is somewhere in the list. There is also my deputy, for those who do not yet know him. I stole him from the Czech embassy. Jan, if you are still there, show your face for 1 second. And just to say, I think it is very important. I'm very much in favor of developing the private sector. Without a good private sector, and this means also small and medium-sized enterprises, you will not get this recovery we want to have. So we stand ready to continue our cooperation with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is the end. Thank you very much to all of you. Take care. We will meet soon. We will follow up. We will share summary of this meeting, minutes of meeting, and we will keep in touch. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Madam Ambassador.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.